Chapter 12. Righteous art thou, O Lord, when I plead with thee. Yet let me talk with thee of thy judgments. Wherefore doth the way of the wicked prosper? Wherefore are all they happy that deal very treacherously? Thou hast planted them, yea, they have taken root, they grow, yea, they bring forth fruit. Thou art near in their mouth, and far from their reins. But thou, O Lord, knowest me. Thou hast seen me, and have tried mine heart toward thee. Pull them out like sheep for the slaughter, and prepare them for the day of slaughter. How long shall the land mourn, and the herbs of every field wither, for the wickedness of them that dwell therein? The beasts are consumed, and the birds, because they said, He shall not see our last end. If thou hast run with the footmen, and they have wearied thee, then how canst thou contend with horses? And if in the land of peace wherein thou trustest they wearied thee, then how wilt thou do in the swelling of Jordan? For even thy brethren and the house of thy father, even they have dealt treacherously with thee. Yea, they have called a multitude after thee, believe them not, though they speak fair words unto thee. I have forsaken mine house, I have left mine heritage, I have given the dearly beloved of my soul into the hand of her enemies. Mine heritage is unto me as a lion in the forest, it crieth out against me, therefore have I hated it. Mine heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. The birds round about are against her. Come ye, assemble all the beasts of the field. Come to devour. Many pastors have destroyed my vineyard. They have trodden my portion under foot. They have made my pleasant portion a desolate wilderness. They have made it desolate, and being desolate it mourneth unto me. The whole land is made desolate, because no man layeth it to heart. The spoilers are come upon all the high places through the wilderness. For the sword of the Lord shall devour from the one end of the land even to the other end of the land. The flesh shall have no peace. They have sown wheat, but shall reap thorns. They have put themselves in pain, but shall not profit. And they shall be ashamed of your revenues because of the fierce anger of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord against all mine evil neighbors, that touch the inheritance which I have caused my people Israel to inherit. Behold, I will pluck them out of their land, and pluck out the house of Judah from among them. And it shall come to pass, after that I have plucked them out, I will return, and have compassion on them, and will bring them again, every man to his heritage, and every man to his land. And it shall come to pass, if they will diligently learn the ways of my people, and swear by my name, the Lord liveth, as they taught my people to swear by Baal, then shall they be built in the midst of my people. But if they will not obey, I will utterly pluck up and destroy that nation, saith the Lord. Jeremiah here is very human. He's very irritated, and he wants to discuss something with the Lord. We see this throughout the next several chapters, 12, 13, 14, 15, is the human part of the prophet. And here the thing that's really just choking him up is why the wicked people prosper and the righteous people do not. He is upset on seeing wicked men be prosperous, and they live carefree lives. They have plenty of money. They can buy whatever they want. They have all kinds of blessings. And yet the righteous people, generally speaking, have much, much, much less. And the Jeremiah tells the Lord, these people should be cut off now. Just get rid of these people. Pluck them up out of the ground. And however, the Lord reproves Isaiah for his hard feelings, and he tells him that Isaiah really doesn't understand why he's doing things. That if he thinks what he's seeing is bad, guess what? There's more coming. And that he'll have to endure even worse trials patiently. And one of the examples that he uses is that as we see this, and he goes through these various things that these people have done, we see just how ripe these people were for destruction. Remember, they couldn't find one righteous person in the entire country. But he uses a phrase, could thou contend with horses? And what he basically means, what the Lord basically means talking to Jeremiah here, is if you think things are bad now, you just wait till you see what's coming for these people. And the footmen are a symbol for sort of the common ordinary soldier. And they represent the common ordinary evil, the kind that Jeremiah has already seen and endured and thinks is so hard. But the word horseman, which would represent the cavalry, the heavy cavalry particularly, were considered to be the most powerful weapons of war that existed, the cavalry and the chariots, but the horsemen particularly, because they would charge in with spears and all the rest of it, and the footmen were always terrified of being run over by the horses and the horses rearing up and all kinds of things. And so the horsemen represented the most powerful forms of evil. And so this is the Lord basically saying to Jeremiah, all you've seen so far is the small problems. Wait till you have big problems. And then you'll think that these were almost the good old days. But he's basically letting Jeremiah know that God has a different view of things than Jeremiah does. And nobody will be able to complain when judgment comes as to that they didn't have some fair opportunity. The rich are going to say, well, we had it rich. And they're not going to be able to complain that they didn't have good things in their lives. He uses the overflowing of the Jordan, and if you haven't been there or you don't know anything about it, you probably wouldn't understand the significance of that. And what it basically means is this. At the time of flood, go back a little bit. In ancient Israel, snakes, lions, all kinds of hyenas, all kinds of beasts lived along the banks of the Jordan River because that was the major supply of water for all the animals. From April through to October, there was almost no rain. And so if the animals there was very few springs or anything. It was a very, very dry land. If you didn't get the rain in time, you had a drought, as we will see in chapters 14 and 15. And so when the flood came, the Jordan had fairly steep banks, and as it flooded up, it would force the snakes and the lions and the hyenas and other animals out of their dens, out of their lairs, out of the normal places where they would be. And they would show up in the fields and on the farms and in the villages, and they would kill people and cattle. And so, if you're in town and you don't feel safe because there's neighbors around you, just imagine how you're going to feel if there's lions and hyenas and snakes all around. So this was the analogy that he was using. Now, he refers to Judah as a speckled bird, and there's a little different translation than that. A little different translation. I realize it seems like a big one, but when you know how the words are formed, it's a little one. Basically, the concept that he means, that we think is more appropriate, is rather than it being a speckled bird, although it could be, it's one translation for the sort of the words that are there. But what it could mean is also that partly because Israel was proud and haughty and wealthy and pompous and had Jerusalem and the temple and all the rest of this, and her pride made her speckled bird, sort of like a pheasant or peacock or something, just a beautiful bird. And it had attracted the attention of birds of prey because she was showing off. So other countries were looking at Judah and figuring out how they could make war against her and take all the wealth she had. There's another one, and the other one, which has the same connotations, is and this land of mine is like a hyena's lair. It's the Lord's land. He's looking at it, with birds of prey circling all around. In other words, that there are buzzards, vultures, circling in the air, waiting for the hyena to be finished with eating the meat of the animal that it killed, and that when it was done and went into the cave where the lair was, that these these vultures would be able to come down and pick the bones. And so basically what the Lord is using this as an analogy is when the main destruction, the main killing of Israel, Judah, was done, then the small countries that were around that would circle like buzzards would come and pick the bones clean. It's not a pleasant analogy, but these people were really wicked, and the destruction was coming.